I'm a racist.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped on an Info Dump podcast. Welcome to Get Dumped On, an info dump podcast, a podcast where Ash and Zach, the quote-quote book smart people, dump information on Bo and I, the quote-quote street smart people who didn't go to college. This is, episode 3, and we're going to be talking about dentistry. Ash, take it away.
It's not me. It's going to be Zach taking us away.
Yeah, that's me.
Zach,
I'm the one who did this.
Take it
one.
away.
No worries. Okay, so we figured that it would be good to prepare some talks on dentistry because one of us very recently had quite the traumatic dentist experience. Do you wanna give us some details on that, Andrew? You fucking bit your tooth off.
My tooth fell out.
Yeah.
Both my front teeth decided to break, and I had to have them replaced. And 2 days ago, as of recording this, they are now replaced, and they feel like porcelain toilets in my mouth. Well, they costed way too much money, and my wallet hurts as well as my mouth.
Mm. What was that process like? You want to walk us through?
Yeah. So should I? It was a winter evening. I was gleefully on my computer, and I bit down on my other teeth, and both of my front teeth decided to break. The front part of them fell off as a sliding glass door screen would fall forward. So did my teeth.
Oh,
wow,
such imagery.
Yeah.
So
it already sounded terrible, and then when you put it that way, it just sounds even worse.
There was no pain. It was just shucking,
mm-hmm.
and it was very weird. So we scheduled a emergency dentist appointment. I went in. They grinded them down to little baby teeth.
Aww.
They took a mold of those baby teeth, put some fake caps on them, and now they have real caps on them, and they're just little hats.
They took a mold of the tiny teeth that they made?
Yeah.
Question.
Well, yeah, for the
because they have
inside
to for the inside of the new ones.
Oh, I see.
What? And
it's so crazy how they did that because, like the gum line, it's perfect. I don't feel like I have fake teeth in my mouth now. Well, apart from the feeling of them with my tongue.
What did they do with the teeth that they replaced with? Can I have?
Oh yeah, did you get to keep
your
teeth?
They let me eat.
Oh
them.
damn! I was gonna see if I can have them.
Delicious.
Yum, 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 yum.
You got to get that extra calcium, like a lizard.
That's why I wanted it for.
Yeah, it's a resource based body economy. So my body is now absorbing those broken teeth in my stomach.
How about you, Bo? What's your experience with dentistry, Ben?
Oh,
That's not an answer. That's just a noise.
Well, my only experience was 20 years ago when I got my cavities filled with my feelings, and it hurt my feelings.
When you were 10?
I was like 10, 12.
You haven't been to the dentist in 20 years?
I'm not here to be judged.
I gotta be honest. The time that I went, I apologized to the dentisties people. I was like, I've never been to the dentist in my entire life. So I apologize for what you find in there. And surprisingly, they're like, this is actually pretty good. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Wow.
I hate the dentist. I hate everything about it. I hate going. I hate the smell. I hate the sound. I have a very sensitive gag reflex. And so I hate when they stick their fingers and their tools in my mouth. I hate everything about the dentist. So this episode, I think, is going to be truly horrifying. And I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, dentistry in general, I'm not a big fan. Like, in general, I'm like going to the doctor makes me anxious, but the dentist is the worst because there's all kinds of nasty stuff going on.
You know they're going to do some shit. Every time you go to the dentist, like if you go to the doctor, they might be like, "Hey, man, you're good. You're fine. You just you're just hurting a little bit." With the dentist, you know immediately they're going to pull that drill out and they're going to be like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
Ask me last time I went to the doctors too.
Was it 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I grew up going to the dentist when I was supposed to, and then for a while I didn't have dental insurance and didn't want to go to the dentist because I was like, well, I'm an adult now, and so if I don't want to go to the dentist, then I don't have to. And then after like 6 years of not going to the dentist, and I really hope that my mother doesn't listen to this, but after like 6 years of not going to the dentist, I went to the dentist, and they were like, "Yeah, you've got like one cavity, but otherwise you're fine." So that was pretty cool. I haven't really gotten as many cavities as you'd expect from the fact that I'm just generally forgetful when it comes to like most kinds of hygiene. Even
what?
Well, yeah, you know, sometimes it's like you forget.
Take a shower, man.
Yeah, like
I'm
I
a
can go
dirty
an entire
boy.
day without even thinking about like the shower being like a thing. Like unless I'm in the bathroom and I look at the shower, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I haven't showered in like 3 days.
Was I in there today? Let's see. Oh, nope, gotta go
Yeah.
shower.
But you know, for a while there, I wasn't really leaving the house that often, so it's like no worries.
Sneaking at
But
home.
this is against the. I was just thinking we could start off the dentistry episode by talking about our experiences with dentistry. But yeah, most of my dentist visits have been pretty uneventful. I got my wisdom teeth taken out when I was a teen, but I was put under for that, so I don't remember any of it. Every time that I've had to get a cavity done, they've numbed my mouth, so like no pain, no worries. It just smells weird, and the sound is terrible. The last time I got a cavity, I had my insurance would only cover the dentist at the mall, and he did a terrible job and like applied too much stuff, and then like it was bad. What was you had a question?
I have a question. When you got your wisdom teeth taken out, was it one of those classic scenarios that you see on YouTube of people coming out of it and they're just like hilarious
I don't remember.
because they're all drugged up?
I really don't remember.
Zach was very excited for when I got my wisdom teeth out for that to happen, but I handle anesthesia like a champ, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Yeah, you have no like you just came out of it and you were cutting potatoes.
Well, yeah, because I got my
give me those potatoes.
I got my wisdom teeth out, and I was all doped up and tired, and my mouth was all hurting and swollen. And I was like, I just want to eat mashed potatoes. And so Zach is in there making the mashed potatoes, and then I just hear him go like, "Oh no, oh my god, oh!" And I was like, "What is happening?" And I look over, and there's just blood, and like he's got a paper towel with just soaked in blood, and he had cut just like the tip of his finger off.
Just
And
a
so
little
I
bit.
was
Very insensitive
Not
of you,
not
Zach,
bad
to
enough
do
that I had
Wow.
to go to the
Yeah, so-
Well, Ash is hurting.
I was taking pictures of it and sending it to my nurse friends and our nurse sister, being like, "Does he have to go to the hospital, or is this probably going to be okay?" And then I was making
Can I still eat
myself.
these potatoes?
Well, I discarded the ones that were gross, and then I kept going, and I made myself mashed potatoes, and I tended to your finger, all while I just had my wisdom teeth out that same day.
Yeah, you really it takes a lot of effort to anesthetize you, because when you had your foot surgery, like you were waking up in the middle of your surgery. They were telling me about it afterwards. They were like, we had to put him down like another time. It was crazy.
Yeah, and the nerve block didn't work, but this isn't an episode about that.
This isn't a
It's an
foot
episode about
podcast?
Yeah.
dentistry.
I was planning out an episode about trepanation.
Yeah, for the people that know, go ahead.
That's
Save it
drilling
for the
holes
next
in
pod.
your
Save
skull.
it for the next pod.
Oh,
As a medical procedure, which there's a lot about. It's pretty cool, but this
It's
is
going to be a
dentistry.
good episode. Get
Okay.
Get hype for it.
So
We're like 9 minutes in already, and we haven't talked about dentistry.
yeah,
talked
but,
about
that's
our
why that's why
experience.
people tune in is for the people tune in for the banter, right?
the banter's the best part. Look at us banging
Because
away.
people tune into this
It's the beer league
podcast.
banter. Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with a little bit about the history of dentistry, right? And then I'm just gonna go over some of my favorite horrible dental tools that I found out. Because I'm gonna be honest, while I was researching the history of dentistry, I got a little bored and just started looking up awful dental tools instead. So that's what I'm gonna be more enthusiastic about. And also, this part about the history of dentistry is mostly paraphrased from Wikipedia, which kind of makes me feel a little disingenuous as a researcher to do, but also it's fine. It's all got citations. And also I looked up another one. But one thing that I want to say is very funny is I started this off by going to the page, the Wikipedia page for dentists. And under the little like info box that's like right up at the top of the page, you know how Wikipedia does that little info box situation. One of the things for dentists, it has competencies. So the competencies for dentists, according to Wikipedia, are sub-millimeter surgical dexterity, knowledge of human health, disease, pathology, and anatomy, communication/interpersonal skills, which is funny because every dentist that I've been to in my adult life, my my childhood dentist was a treasure, and I was very lucky to have Dr. Miller. But every dentist I've been to as an adult has been horrible. So in terms of communication and interpersonal skills, so I think it's funny that they list that analytical skills.
Well, that communication
critical
skills
thinking.
too. They try to talk to you when you got stuff in your mouth.
Oh yeah, every time. And then the last
They're
one,
like, "Hey, like, is this feel okay?" And I'm like,
I'm glad you mentioned you talked, because Zach went on this great rant. I don't think you stopped talking for 3 minutes. Just want to point that out. I love you.
I mean, I'm the one who's leading this.
I know. I just love it. I was like, oh, please. I didn't want anybody to say anything. I wanted to see just how long you would just go, and you just were going. You didn't.
Isn't that the point of this podcast?
I
mean,
know.
Feel
I
free to
love.
interrupt every time.
We're getting dumped on.
Not at all.
An interjection.
We didn't get dumped on at all. He was bringing up how he started his research, and it was 3 minutes. He didn't even get.
I can't wait for Bo to do this. I can't wait for Bo's episode where he dumps on us because we're just gonna just, like say three things. And
I'm not. Okay. It sounds bad, but it was funny just him just going. He didn't just jog or brisk walk. He just started running, and I loved it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking for the rest of the episode.
Bo.
What?
Fuck.
Okay.
That's
Oh
so
my god! Oh my god!
Simmer down. Simmer down.
He's not wrong. I'll be quiet.
Hey
the rest of
Bo.
the episode.
Hey Bo.
No. It's
Hey Bo.
just, yeah.
Hey Bo.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Oh, damn it. And this is Bo's last episode. Bye, guys.
Hey, Bo's getting fired.
Just kidding. Don't please.
All right,
come
let's
back.
actually talk
Bo,
about
you're
dentistry this
important.
episode.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
All right. So anyway,
Let's
the
get to
last
the
the
dentist.
last competency that is required for dentistry is empathy/professionalism, according to Wikipedia, and I think that that's funny. The need for dentistry, it is basically, it's kind of like what we were talking about last week and or last episode, and the theme kind of continues of like the agricultural stage of humanity just kind of being like a big grand experiment and not always working out as well as it should, because with that came an increase in our diet of like starches, which also turns into an increase in sugars. And so sugars, as we know from elementary school, contribute a lot to tooth decay. And so before, when like eating kind of like a hunter-gatherer diet, there's not enough refined sugar or starches in our diet to really cause a lot of dental like issues. And so if you look at the like the teeth of really ancient people, there's just not really that much evidence of like cavities and stuff. Sometimes the like surfaces will be worn down because they're chewing a lot of like low quality food, but not really that often. And the cavities don't really start showing up as much as you'd think until people start eating a lot of like wheat, or in the Americas eating a lot of corn and stuff like that. The other thing that you do see though is like people like in Mexico and like South America and places where they did eat a lot of corn back in the day is little bits of stone from the process of grinding up the corn will sometimes wear down the teeth pretty quickly, and that's kind of gross. That
A
kind
little
of
extra iron, maybe?
kind of messes me up a little. And that's just something that, over time your teeth are going to wear down, and that kind of sucks. But it's not until we started, growing a lot of food that dentistry really became a thing. And so the earliest known evidence of dentistry is pretty frickin' old. The earliest one that I found was between 14,000 and 14,160 and to 13,820 years ago is what the carbon date was for this. So this is before the agricultural revolution, but still someone needed intervention of their cavities. And so there's evidence that on the bone of someone using a stone, like a piece of flint, to carve away some tooth around a cavity. And I think that sounds painful. You got to carve
Well, there was
away.
no drugs back then.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, there was like plants and stuff that could probably get you hallucinified. They probably
That'd be
knew,
dope.
you
Why
know?
don't- I would love it if my dentist did that. They're like, hey, here's some ayahuasca. And I'd be like, sweet.
Ooh.
There's also there's plants that can that are like numbing, there's plants that can stay like blood flow. So they probably had something, although it definitely probably sucked.
Yeah.
Because that sounds awful.
With dentist stuff, I know that like a lot of former US presidents and stuff had like wooden teeth.
Well, we'll touch on that.
Okay.
Good, sir.
You're jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun.
You're jumping the gun.
I really want to know how that works.
Thank you for bringing your curiosity to the table.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we have a couple of like scattered examples of really old teeth that has somebody used stone tools or like a stone drill to like drill away the dead or like infected tooth, and then filled it with beeswax. So the fillings were beeswax. Which now my thought about that is,
I like that.
It's pretty cool because bees are great, but also wouldn't you have to like reapply that? Would it really stay inside your tooth?
How sticky is beeswax?
Mhm.
I've never messed with beeswax before. Is beeswax honey? What is that?
No, it's different.
It's wax.
It's none of your beeswax.
Oh,
Hey,
I guess who's back in the pod? Me.
Oh, it's Bo. Yeah, you got to talk more. Come on, give me some quips, buddy.
Oh
Come
yeah.
on.
Oh, beeswax. None of you.
I know that beeswax hardens as it cools, so like maybe they put something in it to like make it hard once it was fully cool.
I don't know.
I
That'd
just
be
Googled
pretty-
how hard is beeswax. The answer is relatively, according to Google.
Neat.
Phenomenal.
What gets me about that is that if you said you said they found the beeswax 13 to 14,000 years ago.
Well, so this one in particular didn't have any evidence of a filling, but it was assumed that it was beeswax from later ones that have been known that had like remnants of beeswax.
Now it sounds like they're making it up then.
They might just start-
Well, so is that where none of your beeswax comes from? Because if someone's getting some tooth stuff done and somebody's like, hey, is that beeswax? Can I have some of that? Because like my teeth hurt too. And then the dentist would be like, yeah, none of your beeswax.
I
It's
seriously
entirely
doubt it.
possible.
I seriously doubt it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, you heard it here first.
Okay,
You heard it here
boom.
first. That's
Nope.
the most logical thing. It's like you said the last episode about evolution. A lot of stuff is just like we think this happened because of this. I have nothing to refute.
Oh, so the
what I
theory
just
of
said.
beeswax, just like the theory of evolution.
Yeah, what's the church's official stance on beeswax?
Oh, I'll make it. Don't worry. I'll make my own church.
Hopefully it's pro because we need
Doesn't
the
exist. Not my church. Sorry.
The
All
beeswax
right.
symbolized pure flesh Christ received from his virgin mother, according to Google.
Oh,
This
interesting.
is
Is
actually a
this
thing.
a bees episode?
We'll do a
It's
bees
turning
episode.
into a beeswax
We'll
episode.
do bees episode. All right, back on track. Back on track. So there is
Ag.
all right. So there's other evidence from way back in the day of people using toothpicks, using like chewing on sticks or using twigs, as toothpicks to just leave like little striations
dog
in the
does
teeth,
that.
but not enough to be like a full on. Maybe this is somebody digging out a cavity type of situation.
You just got to keep your teeth clean, after you eat. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel something in there, you gotta be like,
No, I like to keep it in there.
Get
Keep
out.
the feeling, extra savory.
yeah.
As
Save it for later.
As early as the 7th century BC, the Etruscans in northern Italy made partial dentures out of human and other animal teeth fastened together with gold bands.
Ooh.
And then by the 5th century BC, the Romans had borrowed this technique and were using it as well.
What kind of animal tooth would you want as a replacement if your tooth fell out?
That's a great question. I
Shark.
mean, probably monkey teeth because
Saber-tooth
I
tiger.
wouldn't- that would be pretty tight. Here I am just
Just the
saying,
front
you know,
teeth.
Yeah.
the normal thing.
Just imagine me just
Oh, so
walking
you
down
want your front
with-
teeth replaced
Yes!
with saber-tooth tiger canines?
Yes, just imagine.
I would like a bird beak.
I just want to walk around like, oh, there's Saber-tooth kid. I'm like, watch out. I'll go get.
saber tooth
I'll go
bow.
get
Just two fangs right at the front.
A saber-tooth boger.
Ooh.
He tries to eat like a hamburger and just like doesn't work. You just gotta shove it through.
Nah,
the
like
teeth.
every meal I have is a kebab because I just stick it on the teeth and save it for later.
Just lick it. Just like a meat popsicle hanging from your face.
Yeah, and some veggies. Come on.
Ooh, delicious. So I've seen pictures of these, and I'll post some pictures in the Discord while we're going, especially of some of the tools. But sadly, the one that I wanted to see the pictures of the most, there were no pictures of it available. But we'll get to that. So, this is the next thing that I have in my list. So a Maya site in Honduras dating back to 600 AD was found. Some archaeologists found in the 30s. A mandible of a woman who had missing incisors replaced by pieces of seashells, which were shaped to resemble teeth.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, and
A
there was
mandible
bone
is
growth.
a lower jawbone for those of you non-osteologists.
Oh yeah, I see. I knew that. And thank you for just telling the audience.
And the
They replaced
incisors,
the jawbone.
no, they replaced the incisors, and so the incisors are the teeth that you broke, but on the bottom, well, and on the top.
Got it.
But the bottom versions of the teeth that you broke. And so they, so there was bone growth around 2 of the 3 incisors, meaning that they were like healed, with the shells in place. And there was calculus, which is like plaque. There was like plaque on them, which is
Cool.
completely nuts. So this person
awesome.
had functional seashell teeth. And so this was what I wanted to try and find a picture of, because Wikipedia just says the fragment is currently a part of the osteological collection at the Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology at Harvard University. But it doesn't list like what the object number is or anything. So I looked through the osteology collection that they have online to try and find a picture of it. But it turns out they don't post pictures of human remains anymore, which I guess I understand why they would do that. Ethically, it's a little
That makes
weird,
sense.
but also I want to see it. Like, come on, man. I want to see the seashell teeth.
Gonna have to go to the museum, I guess.
So I'm going to read it's just going to be a paragraph that I read from Wikipedia. I've got a couple of these, just paragraphs that I read from Wikipedia, because I don't feel like figuring out how to rephrase them.
Go ahead.
And it's public domain stuff, so who cares? I'm not claiming it as my own work, so it's not plagiarism.
It is
wooden-
Zach's work.
Full
My
so
work. This is mine.
wooden full dentures, and this is coming back to a lot of different things that we've already discussed. Wooden full dentures were invented in Japan around the early 16th century, so the early 1500s. Softened beeswax was inserted into the patient's mouth to create an impression, which was then filled with harder beeswax. Wooden dentures were then meticulously carved based on that model. The earliest versions of these dentures were entirely wooden, but later versions used natural human teeth or sculpted pagadite, ivory, or animal horn for the teeth. That's
so
wild.
hold up. They used other people's teeth in other people's mouths.
Yeah.
It's a tooth trans. What's the word for? Come on.
Transplant?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be like you're waiting for your neighbor to die. You'd be like,
I'm going to take those chompers.
Aren't
I'm gonna take those
Every
two
time
front
you
ones. They look pretty good there, Jeff.
I mean,
Every
aren't
time you talk to your
organ
neighbor,
donor?
you're just focusing on his mouth, just focusing on their mouth.
be like,
Just
"You better brush
I want
today."
those teeth. Give me those teeth.
Yeah, I want
Like,
the
"Oh,
teeth.
you're eating candy again, Jerry? Maybe you should lay off that." It's cool that it's like kind of the same process. They like take an impression of the place that they need to make the implants for, and then they carve the implants to match it. Like that's dentistry, baby.
Yeah, and they just cap it on there just like they do now. That's nuts. I thought it would be a little more crazy than that because like back in the day they would say there was ghosts in your blood and stuff. So I assumed that they just like took a hammer and there's like
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Just
it's
popped
like
you right
shoved
in
it
the
in there,
front.
but-
Popped you right in the
Yeah.
front.
So this was an advanced technique for the era. It would not be replicated in the West until the late 18th century. So that would be basically George Washington wouldn't have had wooden dentures because they weren't a thing yet when he was alive, like apart from Japan. So the whole concept of George Washington having wooden teeth, people did have wooden teeth, but Georgie Boy did not.
what did George have?
So we'll get to that. He died in 1799, so he died right at the end of the 18th century, like a stupid dumb bitch.
So he died like right when wooden teeth were becoming kind of like a thing.
yeah.
He was like, I can't wait to get some of those wooden teeth. Oh!
Good news. We discovered wooden teeth.
At
least I
lived long enough to get wooden teeth. And then he was gone.
So later on, wooden dentures continued to be used in Japan until the 19th century, when Japan opened its borders to the rest of the world and started getting stuff like introduced from around Europe and all that. And so at the time in Europe, dentures were porcelain. So starting around 1820, this guy named Samuel Stockton, who was a goldsmith, invented porcelain dentures, which were mounted on gold plates.
And
which
that's
is
what you
fancy.
have, right? They're porcelain, Andrew?
I don't know.
They're probably like
I
some weird
honestly don't know what
carbonate
they're made
resin, honestly.
Something. They feel, as I explained to many people these last few days, they feel like toilets in my mouth. Like if you were to lick a toilet, like how smooth it is. That's how I imagine. I've never licked a toilet.
Yeah,
But I feel like I have now.
I've never licked a toilet, but I have licked coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Are those made of porcelain?
Yeah.
All right, audience
And I'm not-
listeners, your homework is to go lick your toilets and tell me how it feels.
And then
That's
imagine that
called-
you're
that's
licking
what-
Andrew's
And then be
teeth.
like, that's what the inside of Andrew's mouth is
Yeah.
like.
That's what we in the marketing biz call a call to action.
Here's a contest. I want everyone to send in videos of them licking their toilets, and the funniest video will get a chance to taste Andrew's teeth.
Oh, God.
straight from the mouth.
I want the comparison.
I will fly you out wherever you live, and you can lick my teeth for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh my gosh, that's so long.
That's a long time.
It's so long.
Hey, yeah,
It's so long.
If they put in the work, they get the prize. You know what I'm saying?
Next time you're just sitting on the couch, just like think about just time 5 minutes. Like don't listen to music, don't watch TV. Just sit there and time 5 minutes. Now imagine
I'll be
somebody
watching
just
TV during
licking
this.
your
Just
Listen to
teeth
your
that
dogs
entire
like
time.
licking
Just
their
have your
paws.
wife
And
do
imagine.
it. Just have your wife do it. Just try it now. Have your wife.
Now, would
start
you do that
licking-
with your eyes
Hon.
closed or your eyes open?
You stare at them the
I
whole
would
time.
be watching. I would be watching TV or playing a game while they're doing it. Because I'm not gonna sit there in silence and be like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, did you like that?" Like that's weird. I'm not gonna make it
Man,
weird.
trying talking. Hey, did you?
It's gonna be cool and cash. Should be like, "Hey, go for
Okay,
it."
you're talking clear. You're talking clear. Here.
Well, they're not looking at that.
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah. I'll be like, all right, 5 minutes starts now. I'm gonna watch an episode of New Girl, and see what Jess and the boys are up to. So speaking of wooden teeth, though, what kind of wood would you choose if they gave you a choice?
The hardest kind. The hardest hardwood.
Yeah, hardwood. What's the hardest wood?
Like oak?
If,
Mahogany?
if they were able to compress it and make it hard, and like you could choose any grain of wood.
I would choose
What would you go with?
those videos when people make cutting boards out of like different, they like plane a bunch of different kinds of wood
yeah.
and then like glue it
Oh,
together. I would want
yeah.
like those like striped cool wood teeth. That would look awesome.
Yeah, like a sweet like antique cherry. Oh,
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Absolutely.
so good.
Oh yeah.
Like a nice balsa.
Also, I wouldn't want
Balsa
because
is
it's
like
light.
the softest wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I just remember going to the hardware store with my dad when I was a kid, and he would buy me one of those balsa wood gliders if I was good.
Didn't they used to give
You're
those
like,
out
This would make good teeth.
at FedEx? I feel like I remember that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
they did. I remember that is a thing. You would go to FedEx with your parents, and they'd have these little fake gliders that were made of piece of shit balsa wood.
It's pretty cool.
Shout out to FedEx for not doing that anymore, dicks.
So back on topic about teeth. Starting in the
Hey,
1850s.
kid, you want some FedEx teeth?
Hey kid, I got some
Oh,
teeth.
can
Just
you
in a
send
tin.
teeth? Can you send teeth through FedEx? Can you mail
Ooh, that's
teeth?
probably. I think there's probably a legality
I
about.
I
I assume
I
so.
love
Human
FedEx
like,
because
remains.
my teeth that my dentist had to order them from somewhere.
Well, yours
All
aren't
right,
real
Bo,
teeth.
Google it.
Yours
Can
are
you,
like
can
resin.
you FedEx teeth?
You got it. Hold on.
All right, so starting in the 1850s, dentures were made with vulcanized rubber, which is bonkers. And then the modern acrylic and resin dentures started being made in the 20th century.
That's probably what yours are, acrylic and resin.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting thing. Is in Britain, sequential adult dental health surveys revealed that in 1968, 79% of those aged 65 to 74 had no natural teeth. By 1998, this proportion had fallen to 36%. So people are way better at keeping teeth in their head these days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, the Madsen Laboratory recommends that you use FedEx Air when transporting tooth specimens internationally. That's all I got.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so not only can you FedEx teeth, you can do it internationally. That's great.
Mhm. You want to know if you can't not be shipped by FedEx, or should we save for another pod? Oh,
Save that
only
for
for
next-
my.
let's save
For
that
my
for-
dump.
We'll do that for the postal episode.
Okay,
give me one evidence. Give me one good thing.
That's
Okay.
easy.
Auto parts with fluids in them.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Get
I'll
everything
give you one more
wet and
too.
Gross.
Furs. You can't ship furs.
Hmm.
Huh.
Okay.
That's surprising.
All right.
All right, so this is going to be the last Wikipedia extract that I read. This is the last paragraph from Wikipedia that I have pasted in here. George Washington had problems with his teeth throughout his life, and historians have tracked his experiences in great detail. He lost his first adult tooth when he was 22 and only had one left by the time he became president. John Adams says he lost them because he used them to crack Brazil nuts, but modern historians suggest the mercury oxide, which he was given to treat illnesses such as smallpox and malaria, probably contributed to the loss. He had several sets of false teeth made, 4 of them by a dentist named John Greenwood. None of the sets, contrary to popular belief, were made from wood or contained any wood. The set made when he became president were carved from hippopotamus and elephant ivory held together with gold springs.
Whoa.
Ooh.
The next sentence
that's
has
pretty cool.
the next sentence has a word that I don't want to be recorded saying, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. Prior to that,
no.
he had real human teeth as his dentures, which were made from his slaves.
Oh.
Fuck you, George Washington. Oh my God, such an asshole.
Now it
So
does
instead
say,
of looking at his neighbor, he was like, "Hey,
"Hey,
Oh,
hey,
no,
I
you
own
dick.
you. You've got nice teeth there,
hey,
buddy."
I also own those teeth. Give them to me."
And then
Piece of
the
shit.
everything everybody remembers is like, oh, George Washington and his wooden teeth. It's like, no, bitch, you didn't have wooden teeth. He straight up stole teeth from people that he claimed that he owned. That is so fucked up.
Now, to be fair,
Jesus.
the Wikipedia
fair.
page says that he purchased them from the slaves, but I don't know if they were necessarily in the position to refuse that purchase, and I really wonder if he had paid market value for those teeth.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm hoping that he paid good value for those. I know the answer probably is
I'm
not,
guessing he didn't.
and that's a depressing
I'm
thing
giving
about it.
George the benefit of the doubt.
So Washington's
That's why you're a
dental problems left him
colonizer.
in constant pain, for which he took laudanum. Laudanum is basically liquid morphine.
Oh, sick, bro.
And the reason why he looks unhappy in every portrait of him that's been painted is because his mouth just hurt all the time. So that's fun.
Mouth pain sucks.
Yeah.
I just ignore it. That's why I go 20 years without going to dentist. Yeah.
For most of like dental history, dentists were like dentists didn't really become like a specialized thing until the middle of like the 17th century. So like the middle of the 1600s, dentistry became like a thing, but not really. For most of dentistry, like, and especially in like colonial America and stuff like that, it was just something that was done on the side by blacksmiths, chemists, so like people who ran drugstores, goldsmiths, and barbers.
Oh my gosh.
So that's fun. I think barber surgeons were a big thing. And so for like the early days of surgery, a lot of barbers were also surgeons. And so I think that that's the overlap there. And I think that barbers were
Why?
surgeons because they just had a lot of like, they were the guys who had the sharpest scissors.
That is horrifying.
So you could go in and get your leg amputated and also get a nice crew cut.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
what a two for one.
st-
They need more 2 for 1 shots.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
It's like-
going to
They
be,
start
if you're going to
cutting at
be
the hair and just
legless,
don't
then you
stop.
might as well like come out with a fly fade as well.
Might as well look good, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With a haircut that good, no one's
I have
going to
a
be looking
little,
at your legs.
Exactly. They're gonna be like, "Hey, Stumpy." No, they're gonna be like, "Hey, you look good." It's almost like you got 2 legs with that haircut.
Nice.
I have a little sidebar thing before you move on.
Mhm.
I googled what crowns are made of today, and it says most of them are porcelain or ceramic crowns. However, there was a little thing that popped up in the bottom of the corner of the website that said, it's a live chat. Somebody named John, I assume they're not real, but we'll see what happens. And it says, hi there, please let me know if you have any questions while browsing our website. And I said, is there a God? And he has been typing for a very long time. There's the little 3 bubble thing at the bottom has just been going for a very long time. So I'm curious if this is a real person, if they're actually texting back,
I
he's
very
writing
much
back
hope so.
on this dentist website.
All right, so I'm going to now. We're going into my little survey of dental.
The chat has
tools.
ended. They ended the chat.
John's
There's
like,
no
this is out of my pay grade. I am not.
He's like, I can't. I'm just a dental assistant. I can't handle this.
I would have asked him what kind of teeth Jesus would have if he needed implants.
Wine teeth.
God,
So would they like freeze the
Just-
it would, like
just-
frozen?
Just let the
wine?
joke, let the bad joke go. Just don't feed into it.
Take these, for they are my teeth. I'm like, what?
Okay,
Although
so,
I did learn that if you're like your tooth falls out, like not in your case, Andrew, where like part of it was broken, but if your whole tooth falls out, you should stick it back into your gums because that will help help them save the tooth later, because your gums will like glom back onto your tooth and like grow around it if you can't get to the dentist immediately.
Glom. I hate that word.
yeah.
Say it again. Say the word again, please.
Glom.
No, I want Ash to say it. There we go. Thank you.
Hey, glom that tooth, boy. Oh, God.
Okay, I'm going to now. I'm going to name off some dental tools, and one of them is going to be fake, and you guys got to tell me what the fake one is. Okay.
2 dumps and a chump.
Well,
Ooh.
there's more than 2. I'm just going to read off a bunch of them. Okay.
A bunch of. So what are we supposed to be deciding?
A bunch of dumps and
What's
a
the fake one? Because some of
Okay.
these have wild names.
We're gonna
Gotcha.
dump these chumps.
So there's
Okay.
one fake one, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's one fake one.
A bunch
All right,
of
so
dumps
what we
and a
have
chump.
are clockwork drill, foot drill, dental pelican, tooth key, iron serpent, goat's foot,
Ooh, I
or
like that.
secateur, or écrasure.
Oh, there's more.
Just
All right.
You gave,
I can't. Well, those 2 Frenchy sounding ones. I'm not gonna
That
choose
probably
those.
seems right to me. There was 2 foot
'Cause,
ones, and
you
that makes me
know,
think
I
that
don't-
one is fake.
Yeah,
The
there was
foot
a foot
drill or
one.
the
There's a
goat's
goat
foot?
one, and then there's one about a bird.
The pelican.
The pelican.
But what do you think?
Wow, he threw a lot of words out at me.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I don't exactly remember. I think that the goat's foot is
Okay,
fake.
all right. I'll narrow it down to
I
4.
will also go with goat's foot. Goat's foot sounds
We
weird.
do ghost.
and I don't
Yeah,
like that.
no, but that one sounds about right. What was the one after there?
Let's do goat's
What's
foot.
after ghost foot? Goat's foot.
Goats after the goat's foot. I don't remember. I said these out of order.
Okay.
The way that they're
God.
the way that I wrote them down. So you think that the goat's foot
Goat's
is
foot.
the
I think
No.
goat's.
Final
I think
answer.
goat's foot is fake.
goat's foot is correct. The goat's foot is one of them. The fake one that I said was the iron serpent. I just made that up. I thought
I
it
was
sounded
hoping
cool.
that would be right.
But the pelican is real.
Yeah,
The
that's
dental
me
key
too.
is real. The goat's foot is real. The foot drill is real. The clockwork drill is real. And they're all terrible.
I've heard of the tooth key, and I hate it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start off with some drills. So, drilling is a big
Oh.
part of dentistry. If you've got tooth decay, you have to drill away the decayed part so that you can fill up the cavity and make the tooth stop decaying. So drilling has always been a big part of it. So there's a bow drill, and
Hey.
the bow drill is really similar to except it's BOW. And so
Boo.
it's really similar
Oh.
to if you've
Boo.
ever
Not
seen a
anymore.
video of somebody demonstrating how to make a fire, with like a friction fire. And so it's basically like a bow and arrow, but without the arrow. And you have it perpendicular. So you hold it horizontally, and then you have a stick that is vertical. And you kind of loop the string around, and then you go back and forth with it, and it spins the string.
Oh,
And so,
gosh.
and the string
That's
will
not modern, though,
spin.
right?
No, this is old school. This is how Stone Age
Okay,
dentistry was
okay.
done. Then that was followed
So
up.
they're like, this worked for fire. Let's also do this for teeth.
So I don't have any sort of I couldn't find anything before for drills before like the 1850s. But what I have is in 1864, the clockwork drill was invented by a guy named George Fellows Harrington. And so basically the clockwork drill, let me post a picture of it. Let me find where I found it again. It was essentially a like a wind-up toy. Like those wind-up toys where they have the little key and you wind it up and then like a bunch of gears
and then the
go
monkey symbols
and
go.
the monkey symbols go. Yeah, it's the same principle, but it's a drill.
It kind of looks like a tattoo gun.
Yeah, it does look a little like a tattoo gun, but like the 1850s version. Well, the 1860s.
And it's for your mouth.
More like a tattoo gun.
So,
whoa.
So the big ass where all the clockwork bits were was heavy and big, and so you had to hold it with both hands. So by all reports, it sucked to use, and it only spun at 15 RPM.
Oh God, it probably made a horrid sound.
Oh, I don't doubt it. It probably was terrible. So later on, somebody, and I think that the reason why I couldn't find much about drills before this time period is that people didn't really bother correcting like cavities like in the modern era, the modern age. They would just kind of pull the tooth out if like it got like, so if you had a cavity, they're just like, oh well, and then wait for the tooth to get bad enough that we pull it out.
Guess this tooth is fucked. Let's get a deer tooth in here or something.
Yeah, just get a deer tooth in there. So a few years later,
Jim, give me a tooth. I'm gonna put it in my mouth.
I need the tooth.
So a few years later, somebody invented the foot drill, and the foot drill is basically you pumped on a pedal the whole time, and so you would pump on a pedal, and then it would spin like a cord that would then go up to the drill, and you could hold it with one hand. So people used it. It was a lot better. And so you could have continuous drilling because with the clockwork drill, when you crank it all the way up, it would only drill for about 2 minutes, and then you'd have to clock it back up again.
Oh my gosh.
So you'd get 30 spins if it's spinning at 15 RPM. So the foot drill, you can pump and you get continuous drilling, which seems a lot better. And then you can hold it in one hand, so you can use your second hand to, hold the person's mouth open or steady yourself or do whatever you do with the second hand while you're, doing dentistry. And
dentists
so this
in that
drill,
era too, with the foot drill, they were excellent drummers.
I bet, yeah.
Calves rock fucking hard.
And so a bit of an improvement as well. The foot drill could go up to 300 RPM. Around the same time, somebody had the finger rotated dental drill. And this is really similar actually to the hobby drill that I use, where you kind of like hold it in your hand and basically spin it by hand. I lost the picture of it that I had. I don't know where it went.
This looks weird.
A drill that was attached to a thimble, and you'd hold the thimble like pressed against your palm and then stabilized against the tooth, and then use your finger to rotate it. And so you could only rotate it as fast as your finger could, which would suck. So electric drills were invented in the 1920s in New Zealand, and those could go up to 3,000 RPM. So we started at 15 RPM, then 300 RPM, and now we're at 3,000 RPM. That's pretty cool. And these days they use an air turbine drill. And so there's a little air turbine in the drill, and it's powered by compressed air, and those go up to 400,000 RPM. So we've come a very long way. So now, like, experiencing the 400,000 RPM, imagine a drill that's literally going 1,000 times slower.
No.
It would take so much longer to drill out. It would awful, right?
No.
Meanwhile, they didn't.
I do not want to imagine that.
They didn't have Novocaine, they would just get you drunk before procedures, or just bite down on this leather strap. Awful.
Yeah, I did not look up when
I totally could have showed up to the dentist just blasted out of my mind I'm ready.
I don't think that they like you to do that, because actually being drunk while going under things that you might bleed is not good at all.
Should I try
people
it?
Were dying left and right.
Should I try it? I'll for the first
this
ever
is the finger,
info experiment. Here goes Bo getting drunk.
So
That's a good TV show, actually. Like Bo gets drunk before medical procedures.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Giant
Does he
liability.
survive this one?
And then in 1905, the first needle that was specialized for oral injection of anesthetics was invented, and it was basically the anesthetic in question was cocaine.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was called a Wilcox
Let's go.
Jewett obtunder.
Oh, I wish we brought that back.
What, the word obtunder
like that
or
as well.
No,
Doing
cocaine.
cocaine at the doctor.
The cocaine part.
obtunder
now,
means
Zach.
something that numbs.
Cocaine does.
Yeah. Yeah, you rub it on your gums, right? That's what I've heard. I've never done it myself.
It makes all the bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
It makes you not care that there's a man slowly drilling a hole in your tooth.
All right, so now I've got extractors, and these ones are all the
Oh
scary
God,
ones. This is the like
saying
where
all these words I don't
I
like.
know.
yeah, so this is all stuff that was used for, getting the tooth out. So the first thing I have is the dental pelican, which is just why would you call it that? This is a terrible name for something. And so
Was this? Are you joking with us? And this is what they used in the Flintstones?
no. It's
Like it's a living.
it's called a pelican because it kind of looks like a pelican's like beak mouth type situation.
I see it.
And so basically
We didn't cover pelicans in the bird podcast, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what that is.
I only know a few birds.
So there's basically like two ends to it that are kind of function as like a clamp, and one of them is kind of like a crowbar hook, and then the other one is like a ridged like semicircle, and so you tighten it against the tooth, and then you would like the hook would essentially try and get underneath the tooth like into the root, and the like rounded bit with the ridges would press up against the gum, and then you'd yank to get it out, to get the tooth out.
If this was a video podcast, you would
It's a
see the
living-
look on my face right now, and it's not good.
Yeah, it's terrible thing.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about extractions anymore.
Oh,
Like
it's-
this whole podcast has been my experience with the dentist.
Yeah.
Just me going, ugh.
Yeah.
ew."
So essentially, these were started being used in the 1600s, and I was looking at like there's actually a lot of like old school pelicans, these pelicans like in museum collections, and I found them up to the 1800s, which is just terrible. So you clamp the tooth and just fucking yank, and they just really make my mouth hurt thinking about. Like, I mean, all of these make my mouth hurt thinking about, but then the secateurs are French. French dentistry was pretty specialized, but it's French for scissors, and it's similar, but it had like a screw element involved to get a better grip on the tooth, which again I hate thinking about.
The worst thing about looking at like antique dental tools is that they're always like rusty, and if you imagine them like using rusty tools, but like they weren't probably rusty when they were being used. It only makes it marginally better, but that always makes it worse for me when I'm like, not only is it awful, but it's so rusty and gross.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's just truly horrifying.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
And so it has the
I think I'm
wing
ready
nut.
for this podcast to be over.
Yeah, it's just the tools and everything like that. I appreciate it. It's just like this is why I haven't been in 20 years.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. They don't use any of this stuff anymore.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what they say.
Andrew, did you see any of these things?
That's how they get you.
Uh,
That's how they get you. Yeah, they use every single one of these.
okay. Let me just keep
They're
going.
like, here's the pelican drill. Oh, and I was like, oh no.
Just let me finish, and it'll be fine.
Oh God.
So then the next
That's what
one
my dentist
is
said.
my least favorite, which is the tooth key, and I'll post this in. And so essentially, basically, this one instead of a yank, it's a twist. So that bit at the end. So essentially, it's called a key because it looks like a door key in some way or another. You know, you've got a handle that the dentist would hold on to, and then at the other end, you've got a hook. And so the dentist would essentially twist it to get that hook to go underneath the tooth that needed to be extracted. And then they just keep on twisting, and hopefully the force of the twist would pull the tooth out. But here's the thing about the key is that it was bad. It didn't work. you could get a tooth out in pretty quickly, but it would there's a pretty high chance that you would just break the tooth. It could just, if like it was diseased enough, it would just break off in the mouth. And then you'd just be left with like the bottom bit and like the roots.
That picture that you just posted.
Okay,
is
yeah, I'm
horrible.
done. I'm out. Later. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for joining us. That's been Get Dumped On.
Yeah, you could also fracture the jaw.
Thank you for listening.
And I hate thinking about it. I hate looking at it. I hate thinking about it. It's
Zach's
terrible.
still
I hate it.
I did the sign off.
I have two more. Let me finish.
Oh, you have
Let me
no more.
finish.
This podcast is supposed to be a half an hour. This is almost an hour long of you talking about teeth breaking.
Especially at the beginning, he
So
was like, "I don't have
uncomfortable.
anything to talk about, really. It's just basically gonna be nothing." And then it's just been
Except for
40
a
minutes of a horror
horrible
show.
nightmare things.
Okay. This is a picture of a goat's foot.
He's still going.
And so the
I
goat's
actually do
foot
kind of
was
want to see
also
the goat's foot. I do want to see
the goat's foot was also called an elevator. And essentially the goat's foot, it was also for extracting. And so this was if your tooth was broken. So the hooky bit at the end would, again, get dug underneath the root of the tooth and then pulled out.
Oh, God.
And so it's called a
sounds
goat's
amazing.
foot because
Until
it
you
looks
stop
like a
talking.
goat's foot. Isn't that fun?
That's fun.
No. You got to stop.
Okay. And so then the last tooth extraction
I don't
thing,
like being dumped on anymore. I thought I would like it.
this is I have no idea how common this was as a thing. If it was like a one-off situation, I only found this one. This is a pair of forceps from the Civil War era that has a screw drill built into the grabby bit that would drill.
I'm glad that no one listening to this can see these photos you're
Oh
posting.
god, it's like
yeah.
worse. It's like the alien mouth.
It's like the alien from Alien. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's exactly
it's
what I was gonna
exactly like
say.
the alien mouth.
Ugh.
And so the forcep would grab onto the tooth, and then it would drill down from the top to like basically for like Civil War root canals.
Wow.
Yeah, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
And all of the go through all of that, and then to just get tuberculosis anyway. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Okay, so that's
Like sepsis.
this is. I also have something that was.
Oh
it was
my
like
God.
you could tie it around somebody's tongue if you had an infected tongue. You could just tie it around it, and then it would like it. And then it would.
Don't say it.
Fall
Don't say
off?
it.
Your tongue would fall off?
Yeah. Essentially.
Oh my god! I thought we said
and
we were done.
Okay, the last one doesn't have any cutting involved. This last thing
You
doesn't
said
cut
the
into
last
anything.
one, the last three
Okay, but this
ones.
isn't an extraction thing. This is in case somebody has lockjaw
Oh no.
and the dentist has to get their mouth open.
Oh no.
Please, no. Don't
I'm
do
just going to
this.
post a picture of it.
Don't do
No,
this.
it-
That
that's
looks like
no, that's a butt
that looks like
plug.
That's a butt
That's a
plug.
butt plug. That's not a mouth plug.
It's a
That's a
butt
butt
plug.
plug.
It
If you
looks
got
like a
lock butt,
It also looks like one of those
Lock
citrus
plug.
reamers.
It does look like a citrus reamer. Yeah, it looks like a butt plug citrus
Okay, so
reamer.
Yeah,
like
that's
if
another
you're,
term
if
for a
you're
butt
really
plug.
constipated
Remember?
and they're like, hey, let's screw this in there and just open it up a little bit. You know?
Yeah. So
Lock butt.
so for those for those of you who are listening at home and can't see the pictures, which we'll post these
For
pictures
those
on our
that have
social
made it
media.
this far and have stopped.
We'll post these pictures on social media so that you can see what we're looking at. Essentially, this is a butt plug, but the pluggy part has a screw on it, and so
Oh, it
what
is
would
pointy
happen?
at the end.
And it's pointy at the end. And so it's basically like a screw. And so what would happen, what the dentist would do is they would fit it in like a gap between the teeth and then just start screwing it. And
Yeah,
it
I mean,
would
that looks
essentially
like
force
exactly
the
dope.
mouth open. If you had lockjaw, it would force your mouth open.
I need one of those for my dog when he has something in his
Yeah.
mouth that I don't
See,
want.
so
in
it's
his mouth.
useful. You can use it for a lot of things.
Bring it
Like,
back.
grab
Bring
the
it
butt
back.
plug, honey. We got to get
God.
we got to get the acorn out of his
We
mouth.
gotta get in
Yeah.
there.
Okay. And so that's all I had for dental tools.
And that's how
I
you
do
have the
have a
rest of
little
this
fun
podcast.
bit at the end. I do have a little fun bit at the end.
Oh my god!
About dental modification. So
Hour of this.
this is just a very quick little bit. The Maya in Central America were really into
They were
dentistry.
Mayans.
Well, no, Mayan only refers to the
I-
language.
Oh, could
The-
you just
the
let my
people
jokes
themselves
go
are the
past?
Maya.
Just let my jokes just go, please.
I don't know how that's a joke.
like the podcast. Just let it go, like the joke.
Ineptitude is a joke.
If I speak, it's a joke.
So the Maya were really into dentistry. They took it really seriously because they believed that breath, your breath was basically a link to like the divine world. And so there's a lot of focus on like the breath of people in pictographs and stuff like that. And so they did a lot of tooth modifications to kind of like, for aesthetic purposes, essentially. And the Maya did a lot of body modification. We can talk about it in a later episode. My favorite one is that the rulers would do like the ruling classes would do a lot of stuff to kind of show off how useless they could be. Because they had stuff to do, like people to do everything for them, basically. And one of the things that they would do is tie a little string. So they would have a little bead at the end of a string that was attached to a headband, and they would strap the headband around a child. And they would always be focusing on the bead that was in between their eyes, and they would be cross-eyed for the rest of their life after you did that for long enough.
This is a dental episode.
I know. So anyway, what they would do is they would drill into the teeth and then put little shell or gemstone inlays. And it was really common to do it with jade. And they were really good at it. And so very rarely did they actually get into the nerves or like the blood or anything like that. They were really good at just doing like the outer layers. And they would do it with jade. They would do it with gemstones, and they used a glue that was made out of plant resins to keep them secured in there. And so you can still, like, archaeologists will still find the teeth, and the gems are still in there because the glue is so good. And people
That's
have
cool.
tested.
It was beeswax.
It was plant resin. And so
Just beeswax.
some people have like done chemical tests on it and basically found out that it's from a bunch of local plants that also have antibacterial properties. And so the amount that it may have contributed to like the basically how effective the antibacterialness of it hasn't been tested. So they don't know if it was just coincidentally antibacterial or if it was like chosen because they knew that it was antibacterial, but these people rarely have like tooth decay that's associated with it. So
cool.
That's pretty cool. And yeah, so that's everything I have. How would you rank the dental tools from most okay to least okay?
Negative 1,000 for
Everything
all
gets
of
a
them.
0. Yeah, everything gets nothing.
I guess if I had to choose, I'd choose the goat's foot because it looks the least intrusive. Or maybe the hand drill.
They all should die.
not the clockwork drill, but the finger drill. Like, at least that one can be a little more precise, I guess. But I would rather just die of a tooth infection than go through any of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I just bought the butt plug on Amazon. Other than that, I'm not buying any of these other ones.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, we've been going on this for too long. I learned something today. If Zach is running a podcast, go to the bathroom beforehand because I've had to pee for half an hour.
No. I'm sorry.
Do you want to take us out for real this time, Andrew?
Hey, thank you for listening to that horrible mouth horrible stuff that we just talked about that hopefully made you as uncomfortable as it made us. I got nothing left. I really don't. Thanks for listening. Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump Podcast. Bye.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hate this. Hate it all.